What's good? What's good? I'm gonna start off by giving all praises to the Most High, and we do so uh, in His only forgotten Son named Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. I know y'all see the title. We going back to this Book of Revelation, working our way through it. Right now we on chapter 15 and 16. We're gonna break those two down. Um, Getting a little understanding, just getting into um, like more so getting into World War III aspect, somewhat touching on Armageddon, and so we're gonna just break these two chapters down real quick to the spirit, and get some understanding and a little edification on it. Like I said, we're taking the spookiness out of this book because a lot of times if you grew up in a church, they told you that Revelation is confusing and it's hard to understand, but we through the spirit we're breaking it down, getting to understand. So this is what part 8, I believe. So yeah, so we're gonna get it in. We're gonna start at Revelation 15 and 1, right? And it says, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, seven angels having the seven last plagues, for in them is filled with the wrath of God. Right? So getting to the seven plagues, right? And the Bible called this the second Egypt, the second Exodus, right? And the story of Egypt. God destroyed Egypt with 10 plagues. But here in these Americas, Babylon, He gonna destroy it in 7 plagues. So we're gonna go through them. And I saw and I saw another sign in the heaven, great and marvelous, and the seven angels having the seven last plagues, and uh, for in them was filled with the wrath of God. Right. So that's what these plagues is dealing with, God's wrath and how He's gonna punish the known world. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark. So it's talking about the children of Israel, those of us who will not take the mark of the beast, and we endure to the end. So so it's saying that I saw, and I saw it were, hold on, a sea of glass with fire, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having harps of God. So now this sea of glass is like in the third heavens, right? And they're kind of looking through like almost like a to simplify it, like they looking through down towards the earth, and through this like crystal glass type thing, and the earth is on fire. So because of the all the bombing and the nuclear bombs that was going on. And so that's why it says it's like a sea of glass mingled with fire, because they're like looking through glass, but then they like seeing this fire that's raging underneath it. And then we are rejoicing, singing our songs and stuff, because we're glad that we were saved. Hopefully we were part of that number. We're glad that that they were glad that they were saved. Out of that event. So it says, and I saw it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten victory over the beast, and over his image, and over the mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. And they sing the song of Moses, and the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty, just and true are thy ways, thou King of the saints, right? Thou King of saints, right? So we praising, they praising God for being saved out of this, nuclear holocaust, this nuclear fire that's going on the earth. as they looking down from the third heavens, viewing all this stuff. And so it says, "Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy, for all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgment are made manifest. And after I looked and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was open." So the testimony of heaven is talking about um, the instructions of God, like this, for the lack of better terms, this Bible. The people that live their life according to the instructions that God had given. And so it says, and the seventh angel came out of the temple having the seven plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their breasts their breast girdled with the golden girdles. So like these angels, they got their little armor on, and their armor is like golden plated, right? And one of the four beasts gave unto the seven angels uh, seven golden vials full of wrath of God, who liveth forever and ever. So now, when you think about these vials, right? These vials is like almost like a wide mouth container, right? You know, so like almost like for lack of for a better visual, like think about uh, a plant like a little the little pot that the plant sit in, how wide it is at the top. You got the dirt and stuff. So if you take it and turn it upside down, all that dirt and stuff is just gonna fall out all at once, right? So that's how these vials is made. It's a wide mouth container. So you open it, you turn it upside down, so everything just come out all at once, right? It's not a slow pour, right? It come out all together. So and seven golden vials full of the wrath of God, who liveth forever and ever. So now these vials too, is talking about these different things that God is planning on doing, right? So it says, and the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from from His power, and no man was able to enter into the temple until the seven plagues of the seven angels were fulfilled, right? So then it says, chapter 16. And I heard, so we in 16 and 1. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, "Go your ways and pour out the vials of wrath of God upon the earth." And the first angel went and poured out his vials upon the earth, and there fell noisome and grievous sores upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. So those people that end up taking the mark of the beast, in that day, their skin is going to break out into like sores and boils, and like look like little tumorous type, bumps and sores and stuff, all over their body, and it's going to be very painful. And like there've been studies too. They talk about the RFI ID chip, right? The little radio frequency thing that they want to chip everybody with. There've been studies that some people have broken out in sores and stuff like that. That have experiment with with that microchip that they want to put into people. So and this gonna be on a massive scale. So the people that end up taking this mark of the beast, you know, um, they're gonna break out, because injecting little foreign objects into your body is going to cause a lot of health problems, you know, as we see here. So it says, read it again. And the first went out and poured out his vials upon the earth, and there fell noisome and grievous sores upon the man which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. Right. So everybody that conform to this beast system of America, and to how they get down, and go along to get along with these people, just following along like sheep, and end up taking this mark of the beast because you want to, you value your career more than your soul, so then you're gonna end up catching, getting these nasty boils all over your body, from taking the mark. Then it says, "And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as blood of a dead man, and every living soul died that was in the sea." So now this is talking about famine, because when war is happening, because a lot of times, like I said, we never lived through a world war. Our not even our parents, maybe our grandparents did, but we haven't lived through a war. So a lot of times the food get basically they all the food they have they basically allocated towards the army because they need to feed the army, especially during the World War. That's why, like, when you look at the conditions of World War II and World War One for the civilians, not just the soldiers, but the civilians, it was rough. It was a lot of, it was kind of hard, hard living during those times. So just talking about famine, meaning like the water is going to be bad to drink, and you need water for everything, because you need water to clean the food, then not only do you need water to grow the food. So now if the water is tainted, you can't grow the food and you can't clean the food. So that's going to cause famine, right? So it says, "And the second angel poured out a vial upon the sea, and it became as blood, and uh, of blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea," right? Like I said, I was talking about famine. So if the water is tainted, so now the fish is dying. Like all the the seafood that people like to eat, now that is being corrupt and dying, because like I said, the water is poison now, and we see what's going on, like on a small level, like Flint, Michigan, then even down in certain parts of Mississippi. How the water is bad, and that's just the places we know about here in America that they putting out. It's I seen something where it's a lot of places all over America that has bad water. And so so that's just it's only gonna get worse. So just get second address. We're gonna get go to second address, uh, 15 and start at 16, and it says, because like I said, that's gonna cause famine, and when people are hungry, people do things. Try like even like people would do anything to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like even on a minute level, like it's not even a real famine to this point, but you got poor people, some people that would, sell their bodies to get some food. They do certain things, you know, to get to eat. Some people might steal, to eat. So now just imagine if the whole world is going through this, you know, and so it's gonna be a lot of craziness that happen. So it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another," meaning people gonna be breaking into people's houses, trying to see what they got in their refrigerator, what type of food they got, what they got to eat. So it says, "It shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes," meaning we ain't gonna pay attention to the police. 911 is gonna have a dial tone. You're gonna try to call 911. You're gonna hear beep 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 beep. That's all you're gonna hear in that day. All right. We're not gonna the president, whoever it may be, gonna get on TV, tell everybody to calm down, chill out. We ain't gonna try to hear none of that, because people's gonna be hungry and they're gonna be doing what they gotta do in that day. That's why we need to come back to these commandments and keep the faith so we can be protected in that day, because the Bible says, "My servants shall eat," and we want to be those ones that eat and don't go hungry and thirsty. So it says, "For it shall be sedition among men, and invading of one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power," meaning we're going to do what we need to do to eat. We're going to, if we hungry, we starving, we thirsty, we're going to run up in our neighbor's crib. If we think that we see the light on over there, we know that somebody home, they got something, we're going over there and we're going to go get it in that day. That's what it means by we're gonna stand in our own power. And we go and a man shall desire to go to a city and should not be able to go. Meaning it's gonna be martial law. you're gonna have the National Guard and stuff out here stopping people from leaving and going to different cities. We're gonna have to, probably, sneak and create a whole nother underground railroad just to escape and get out of here. Go to different cities and places to visit or whatever the case may be. To get out. And we saw like a handful of that during this whole COVID thing, like a few years ago, how they kind of lock everything down. The streets was empty. Some places had a curfew, for people to be in that. So imagine if it's war and it's sedition, people running crazy. Just picture Katrina. How people was acting during Katrina. You know, they you would have thought it was the end of the world in New Orleans. So just picture that all over America, in every city, every town in America, that's going on, but times 10. All right, so we're not going to be able to leave out the city when you want to. You're going to have National Guard standing with rifles telling you to turn back around or else you're going to get shot. And so that's what's coming. And it says, a man should desire to go out the city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the horses shall be destroyed, and the man shall be afraid. So that's what's going to happen, in that day. We're going to, we're going to want to leave out the city. We're going to try to get out the city. It's going to be like that, that Resident Evil, how they had the big-ass gate, everybody locked in, the army holding people, steady, telling them don't go nowhere, don't move. We're not going to be able to go anywhere. So that's going to cause chaos because then people are going to be like, why I can't go nowhere? So then if people got guns, the army got guns, then everybody probably going to shoot it out. Because it tells you that we ain't going to pay attention to our rulers, our kings, which would, in nowadays would be our presidents, our leaders. So it's going to be martial law. It's going to be civil unrest, like we see in some of these other countries overseas. That's coming over here also. And it says, a man should desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be in trouble. So there's going to be a lot of hell breaking loose in these cities and these towns. And the houses shall be destroyed, meaning people are going to be ransacking people's cribs. People are going to be kicking in your door, trying to see what you got up in there because they hungry. They're starving. They got children that need to be fed. And people will do anything for their children. And then not only will they do anything for their children, they do anything they eat. When your stomach is touching your back, you do anything. And a lot of us never had that feeling before, so we don't know what that's like. But the Bible is giving you a glimpse of what's going to happen in that day, and we're approaching that soon. And it says, and a man shall have no pity on his neighbor. We just was talking about that. A man should have no pity on his neighbor. You probably know. You probably live next door to this person down there your whole life. Like, hey, how you doing, Mr. Johnson? Hey, how you doing, Mr. Jackson? But in that day, you're going to be like, fuck Mr. Jackson. Fuck Mr. Johnson. I'm running up in there because I know he got it. Because it says a man should not have no pity of his, excuse my language. But, this how, this how we got to break it down. You get that understanding. So, it says, and a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. Meaning we're gonna run up in their crib and take what we need, because we're gonna be hungry in that day, and hopefully, like I said, we don't want to be those people. Hopefully, we come back to what we're supposed to do, our commandments, our national heritage, to understand that we are Israelites, not niggas, not African Americans, but God's chosen people. So we can have that protection in that day. Because he said, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. My servants shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. So we want to be that people, not the people that we're reading about right now. So I'm just giving you the flip side of it. So it says, and a man shall have no pity on his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and to spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, because people are going to be hungry. And for great tribulation, because people are going to be going through it. So we see it how it is now. Like, just on a minute, just Right now, people, struggling right now. We see the type of violence that we see when we turn on the TV. And that's just everyday struggles. You know, so just imagine that this is like perpetual struggles. Like this is like an all day, everyday thing. Like it's not just you going through it. The one next to you going through it. The one across from you is going through it. They all out here with that mind. Like, man, I'm gonna have to either kill somebody or be killed. To eat. People, like I said, you're gonna see some things that you've never seen before, and you probably gonna have to do some things that you never ever thought about doing before in that day. Cause that's how rough it's gonna be. And it says, "Behold, um, it says, behold, said God, I will gather all the kings of the earth uh, to uh, uh, reverence me, and which are from the rising sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanon, and turn them into one against another." So it's going to be civil war, not just civil war, but world war. That's what we're reading right here. So he's going to take the kings and make them fight each other. These different kings from different parts of the world, from all over, they're going to be fighting for these resources. Because these armies, like, America's gonna be like, oh, well, Canada got it over there. All right, well, just send our army to Canada. Just go get it. Oh, Mexico got it over there. Just go down to Mexico and go get it. So you're gonna have all these different nations fighting against each other for these resources, because people's gonna be hungry. People's gonna be going crazy that day. In that day. And it says, "Behold, God, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising sun, from the south, from the east, and the Lebanon, and to turn themselves one against another, and to repay, that's the key part, to repay the things that they have done unto them." So, and the reason why God is doing this, because he's paying back these kingdoms of the earth on how they treated his children of Israel. Because you got to remember all this stuff that we're seeing and going to see, even though some of us are going to get caught up in it, but it's all to benefit the children of Israel, because we have a God that will fight for us. And God said he don't fight like a man. Meaning he don't fight fair. He's not coming like, you swear up with God and God put up his dukes, now y'all boxing it out. He ain't fighting like that. God said he's coming with everything he got. All right? He coming with all power. Because it tells you he will not meet them like a man. Meaning he's not going to fight you like a man. He's going to come with, he's going to be cheating. He's going to be eye gouging. He might give you a low blow. You know what I'm saying? He might bite you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not fighting like a man. So that's how he's coming. And he said to repay the things that they have done, that they had done to them. And who's the them? Us, the Israelites. So this is why all of this is happening. All right. So let's get back to Revelation. And let's go back to 7. And I heard to 4. And the third angel poured out a vial upon the rivers, and the fountains of the water became blood. And I heard the angel of the water say, "Thou art righteous, O Lord, which are and was and shall be, because thou hast judged us." Meaning, so God is righteous for doing these acts against these people that harm his people. Because just like a good parent, when they know their kid is in trouble, they gonna throw down. I mean, I know we done seen videos on YouTube where a child is getting jumped, then the parent come in and help their kid fight. And then people like, damn, this grown person fighting these kids. Hell yeah. That's how God gonna get down. God gonna come in and he's gonna destroy these people for what they did. So it says, and I and the third angel poured out a vial upon the rivers and the fountains of the water, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, "Thou art righteous, O Lord, which are and was and shall be, because thou hast judged just." Meaning he's going to be justified in what he does. Like I said, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. Few of us gonna get caught up in this because we don't want to repent. We don't want to come back to who we truly are. We love America so much. We love this way of life so much. So we're gonna get caught up in the mix. So he's not coming for those people. He's coming for those that's really sincere and trying to get things together. So those are the ones he's fighting for. And it says, "For thou have shed the blood of the for they have shed the blood of the saints and the prophets." Who's the saints and the prophets? Israelites. When you read this book, it tells you who the saints is. It's not no damn Mother Teresa and all them other little saints that the Italian people like to show you in their little mob movies. All right, it's not none of them. We are the saints. The Black, Hispanic, Native Americans. We are the saints. It says, "The saints and for thou hast shed the blood of the saints and the prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy." So for them shedding blood, our blood, he's gonna give them blood, to drink. Meaning he's gonna kill them off, cause them to fight and cause them to die, like how they slaughtered 200 million of us and counting, probably more than that. Um, and I heard another come out the altar and say, also, heard another come out the altar and say, "Even so, Lord, Lord God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgment," because he's going to be right for what he does. "And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and the power of the sun, and the power was given unto him to scorch men with fire." So now you got what they call solar flares and stuff happening, because when these bombs and stuff going off, because you got bombs going off because of the World War III stuff happening, so that's going to end up destroying the atmosphere, right? So now you're going to cause these solar flares that the sun radiation is going to be sinking in onto the earth now. So now you're going to have these little solar flares, hitting the earth at the same time too. So then, so you're going to be having people getting burnt up and catching skin cancer and all types of madness because of that, right? And so it says, "The fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and the power was given unto them to scorch men with fire, and the men were scorched with great heat." So we're gonna have like record highs of this hot weather. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be super drought. We done experienced like how they say, "Oh, you watch the weather, like, oh, it's a record high today. It got up to 100 and blah blah blah, whatever, right?" So we're gonna see that on a day-to-day basis. You know, and so it says it's gonna be like that. And where I'm at, the scorched man with fire, and the man was scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God. Meaning they're gonna be seeing all this stuff happening, and they still gonna be uh, talking, stuff about God. Still being unbelievers, still cursing the name of God. Even though God is causing all this stuff to happen to them. Because some of us still not gonna believe. Because some of us, this, think this is, a joke, just think this is whatever, a dog and pony show. No, this stuff is real. And the scientists tell you about these solar flares that can happen in the danger stuff that, and the dangerous stuff that these solar flares can do. And it says, "And the man was scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which had power over these things, over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory." Meaning they're not going to repent and return from how they been living their life. They're still going to be carrying on the same type of way. They're not going to be like, "Hey, well, maybe I should try to get myself together because this stuff is real." Like, man, World War III done happened. Bombs are dropping everywhere. People running in people's cribs, stealing, killing. And now we got the solar heat coming down on us, radiation jacking us up. They still going to be trying to do what they've been doing their whole life instead of trying to get right. And even in this time, these people are going to still have a chance to change their life over. God's still trying to give people a chance to come back. But so sad, a lot of us is not going to do it. And so it says, and the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and the kingdom was filled with darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. Right. So so now in the seat of the beast is talking about America, because America is the spearhead of the beast because of NATO and the EU. And so it's talking about America. And so let's get Second Ezra real quick again, 9 and 12. And it says, the same must know after death by pain. So, people are going to have to experience death and pain, before some of us start to get this stuff, before some of us start to understand what's happening. So it says in Second Ezra 9 and 12, the same must know after death by pain. So, a lot of us are going to have to die. We're going to have to see a lot of our loved ones die. We're going to have to see a lot of our friends die. You know, before we start to click in our head like, hold on, this is something is here, something is really happening, something is to this. We gotta, get our shit together. Right? So it says, and there be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved. So God is telling us, don't because a lot of us like, dang, we probably hearing this stuff and it's kind of shocking because the church is not going to talk about these things, so it's kind of shocking. But God's saying, don't be curious about how the unrighteous is going to die and how, and how their end is going to be. But instead, what it say? But it says, therefore be thou not curious on how the ungodly should be punished, and when, but inquire but inquire how the righteous shall be saved. So we need to figure out how we can be saved from this stuff, not worrying about what all the hell that's gonna break loose, that's coming to this place. We need to worry about how we're gonna be saved from that hell. It's good to know all this hell that's gonna come to this place because it should scare the mess out of you. So then you will ask the questions on how we're going to be saved out of this thing. And that's what God is telling you. Don't worry about how these people are going to die. You should worry about how you're going to be saved from this. And that's what we need to understand. And how we be saved from this is coming back to our nationality, understanding that we are not black, we're not Americans, we're slaves that was brought, well, not slaves, but we're children of slaves that was brought here. We are the children of Israel. We are the gods of this planet. We are the priests and the kings and the queens and the princesses of this planet. That's who we are. And once we get the understanding, come back to the commandments and keeping the laws of God and righteousness, we might have a chance of getting up out of this thing. That's how you're going to be saved. So it says, oh yeah. Therefore, thou be not curious on how the ungodly shall be punished and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved. Those, the world is, and for whom the world is created, because the world was created for us. And you read about that in let's get that just really quick. Let's see. In Second Ezra 55, 6 and 55, all this I have spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou hast made the world for our sake. So the world was created for us, for the Israelites, you know, and that's who God made this big green blue planet thing for us. Yeah, he got like 7 billion people on the planet, but guess what? Those other people were meant to be our servants, whether you like it, believe it, understand it, or not. That's how it's supposed to be, because we are the gods of this earth. We are what they say, return of the gods. We are the the kings and the queens and the princes and the princesses of this planet and the priests. All right, because like it tells you right here, uh, for all this I have spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou hast made the world for our sakes. So God made all of this for us. All right. So let's get back to Revelation 16 and 11. And blaspheme the God of heaven because of their pain and their sores, and repented not of their deeds, And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water was dried up. And we can see that now. We can look at the Euphrates River and see that the Euphrates River is starting to dry up, just like how it says right here in Revelation. Now, this was written about 2,000 years ago, you know, and we didn't, understanding this, we didn't know how the Euphrates river was going to dry up, but now we see, how it's playing out, how the Euphrates is drying up. So, and it says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial, and in the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. That way, like all those, powerful nations of the east, China, Iran, and all those different nations, they can march in, you know, to set up for Armageddon, right? And cause like I said, Armageddon is a separate war from World War Three. You know, picture World War Three like Royal Rumble. Like if you're a wrestling fan, picture World War Three like Royal Rumble, and Armageddon is WrestleMania. All right. So then it says, and the sixth angel poured out the vials upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. So now you're gonna have people that still like these church people that still gonna be trying to preach their little prosperity gospel, still talking all this this crazy stuff, and and trying to take everybody money. So let's get it real quick. Let's get let's prove it real quick. Let's get a couple precepts. Let's go to 12 and 3. Wait, no, that's not it. Let me get matter of fact, go to Matthew. Get Matthew. Matthew 24 and 43. So Matthew 24 and 43 says, but because like I said, it says where I'm at. Because yeah, I mean, we're talking about like the false prophets, right? And hold on, hold on, let's see. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, so Matthew 7 and 15 says, so beware of the false prophet which come to you in sheep clothing, but inwardly uh, they are ravaging wolves. So, and that's what they are. They're going to be ravaging wolves even in that day. Even with all hell breaking loose, you're going to have these false prophets still out here being ravaging wolves, trying to steal people money still, you know, and so they're not going to change, and they still going to be saying the same old, trying to get people money. So that's so it says and it says, and I saw the three unclean spirits like frogs, three unclean spirits like frogs, that come out the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast. So in the mouth of the beast is, like I said, the dragon is, the mouth of the beast is, like I said, is NATO, and then you got America, right? And it says, this Revelation 12 and 3, and there appeared another great wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. So it's talking about these the Eastern European system, and how they run things, right? And so it says, let's get back to Revelation. And boom, boom, boom. And for they are spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world, to gather them to the battle that is the battle of that great day of God Almighty. So now, even with all this stuff happening, so you're gonna have NATO and the EU still functioning, and they're gonna be trying to get all these nations to come together to battle for Armageddon, right? You know, 'cause like I said, World War III is gonna be happening. Then it's gonna splinter off into Armageddon, right? You know, and that's when they're gonna try to come and fight against us. You know, literally. You know, and like I said, you can check out my book. Not my book. My video I did about the whole Armageddon thing, and I broke it down how it was gonna play out. And so then boom, boom, boom. So it says, but behold, I come as a thief in the night, and blessed is he that washes and keep his garments, lest he walk naked and I see his shame. So God is saying to be on the lookout and watch these signs that's going on in the world, for you won't be caught up and you won't be caught off guard when all these things start to happen. So you want to keep your eye, open and be able to watch these things that's happening. So that's what it means by behold, I come as a thief in the night, and blessed he that watches, meaning blessed are those who's paying attention to what's going on in these world events, and and marking them and understanding what's happening, and understanding these prophecies and how it relate to what we see what's going on in the world. And it says, and keep his garments, meaning you're keeping this knowledge and understanding and the wisdom that you attain, through your studies and building yourself up, and you keeping that knowledge and understanding what's going on, right? And it says unless he walk naked and be shamed. So then you don't want to be caught off guard and like just let your guard down, and then all of a sudden this stuff happens and now you're like, oh dang, so now you slipping, so you don't want to be slipping, or how we say lacking. You don't want to be lacking in that day, because you don't want to be lacking when Yahweh come back, because he will catch you. That game that people used to play, the little internet game. They be like, oh, catch people lacking, and they be like, oh, you lacking. They run up on you with the, how the game went, right? So you don't want to be like that. You don't want to be lacking. So let's get a. So yeah, let's go back to Matthew 24:43. It says, but know, but know, but know this, that if a good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. So saying, like, if you knew what time a robber was gonna come to your house and break into your house, you're gonna be prepared for that person that's coming to your house to break in. So that's how we gotta be about this day. Watching these events on the news, and seeing how certain things is playing out. So because you don't want to be like that person that's chilling in the crib, and all of a sudden you hear a window break, and now you got a gun to your head because you wasn't paying attention. So it said, but know this, that if a good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not suffer his house to be broken up. So you want to be that good man that's watching over your house, being on, how they say, on us, on security, watching everything, making sure things don't go down that ain't supposed to go down. So you want to be understanding these prophecies and understanding these world events that's going on, so you can see where we at in this thing. So let's get a look real quick. Let's get a Luke 12, boom, 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 and 37. I'm going to read the 39. It says, blessed are those servants who the Lord, whom the Lord when he comes shall find watching. So it says, blessed are those that who the Lord shall find watching, meaning you paying attention, you understanding, you're not slipping. So when God come back, you ain't gonna be lacking. You're gonna be ready to go. It says, very I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat and will come forth and serve them. And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants. So you want to be blessed and understanding what what's going on in the world. Don't be so caught up in your life that you can't pay attention to what's happening around you. You don't want to be lacking when it comes to world events and seeing what's going on with Russia, China, Iran, these different countries that's going at it right now. Because it's so much stuff going on that it's so easy to like let certain things just fall to the wayside, and you don't pay attention to what's happening. So you want to be aware of these things, because it tells you don't be ignorant of any matter, small or large. You know, so you want to be aware of certain things. So it says, in this know that in this know that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken through. So, like I said, saying it again, if a good man know what's going on, he's not gonna he's not gonna let his house be broken into. He's gonna understand his surroundings and understand that he's gonna have to keep his eye open. So let's get this real quick. This is First Thessalonians 5:2. It says, For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord, talking about the end of the world, this judgment day, the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. So just like we read in Matthew, that if you know when a thief is coming, you're gonna be prepared. So you gotta always keep yourself on guard during these times. Because it says, "For yourself know perfectly that the day of the Lord so come as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety," because you might hear like on the news, oh yeah, such and such is making peace. They're having this treaty or whatever, blah blah blah. Right? It says, but for when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So it's just like when a woman is, is going through a childbirth, she have her pregnancy, then she just might be chilling, walking down the aisle of the supermarket, then all of a sudden her water break. You know what I'm saying? And then she like, oh dang, now it's time to go. Oh, shoot, the water just broke. So you want to be prepared and ready. So it says, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. So like I said, you don't want to be overtaken as a thief. Will overtake you. So you want to be prepared. Right? Let's get one more. Go to First Peter. First Peter, let me see, 3:10. So then it says, for he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and his lips and speak no guile. Right? No, that's not one. Second Peter. My bad. Second Peter. That's pretty good too, though. You wanna watch what you say also. But let's get Second Peter 3:10. But the day of the Lord come as a thief in the night, and in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with ferment and heat. Talking about that nuclear fire. When these nuclear bombs go off, they're gonna um, burn everything. They're gonna melt everything. You know, and it says the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also, and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. So all this stuff gonna be destroyed. In this current world. When that World War III kick off. So, and it's coming like a thief in the night. That's why we have to watch these things. We've been watching this Russia thing since February, when they first went into Ukraine. And people are like, oh man, it's been going on. It's been going on since February. Some of us forgot about it. Some of us, forgot about China and stuff. Some of us don't understand that Pakistan and India is at it, going at it. Uh, some of us don't understand, like, some of America's partners don't even is starting to not mess with America like that no more. So we gotta watch these things, and that's all Bible prophecy about the beast turning on America, turning on what the Bible calls the whore, because America is that whore that the Bible talks about. So it says, and the seventh angel, well, hold on now, and go to 16, and he gathered them together in a place called in Hebrew tongue Armageddon. So all of this is happening for God to bring all these nations together for one final battle, which is called Armageddon. So World War III is happening. Like I said, if you're a wrestling fan, kind of look at World War III as the Royal Rumble, then WrestleMania, which is like the final biggest pay-per-view event at the end of the year for wrestling. So then that's what this Armageddon thing is going to be. And and we the champs. And they all gonna come against us. But only difference is we're gonna have our big brother, our king, with us, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus, a black man, fighting with us. So and that's gonna be the difference in that day. So then it says in the seven and they gathered them together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And the seventh angel poured out his vials uh, into the air, and it became a great came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, "It is done." So this is the final plague when everything gonna get over with. You know, just when the real bombs drop. It's already bombs just falling. Now I'm talking about nuclear bombs now. Even though you've been hearing me talking about nuclear bombs, but I'm talking about the nukes. All right, when America gets taken out of here. So it says, and the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne. And who sits on the throne? The Most High God, Yahweh, saying, "It is done." And there was a voice of thunder and lightning, and there was a great earthquake, as such as since men were upon the earth. So mighty of an earthquake and so great, because these bombs are strong. They got some powerful bombs now that can, like I say, it can cause seismic activity. It can induce earthquakes on the planet. When they hit in certain spots. Because they got some big old bombs. And they're bigger than what they had in World War II, like 100 times over. And and the great city was divided into three parts. And that great city is talking about America. That great city, and that great city was divided into three parts. Uh, of the in that of this wait, that great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nation fell. So all the other countries that's riding with America, they fell too because they got bombed as well. They got jacked up too in this. So in the great Babylon came into remembrance before Yahweh to give unto her the cup of wine of his fierce wrath. So in that time when God destroying these other nations, He gonna remember America, and He gonna blow her to smithereens, like how they used to say in the cartoons. And every I via through Russia and Korea and their allies, and and every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. Meaning, so it's gonna be like tidal waves happening because these bombs are gonna be going off everywhere. It's gonna be causing like tidal waves and everything to hit, and and everything gonna be destroyed. And it says, every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven. Every stone was about a weight of a talent. And men blasphemed God because of the plagues of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. So even in that day, like I said, these people still, you know, like Cause like I said, America is, they big. The continent itself, America is gonna be destroyed. But you gotta remember, they got like 100 and something bases all spread out through the world. So, so they still gonna have some type of influence, because they got, you know, bases all over the planet. So America itself is gonna be destroyed, the landmass and the people thereof in it. So that's why you're still gonna have them still speaking great blasphemy, how it says, and it says it felt upon a man a great hell out of heaven. Every stone was about a weight of a talent, and the man blasphemed God because of the plagues of the hell, and for the plagues thereof was exceedingly great. And that's what we're gonna see. Well, hopefully we don't see that. Hopefully we be, not here when it happens. But that's the plan. At least that's my plan. So and that's what that's what we're trying to understand. And so that's basically it right there. We're gonna end it right there. And so I'm gonna read it again though. It says, um, and God and they blaspheme because of the plagues of hell, because the plagues of hell, for the plagues thereof was exceedingly great. And so, like I said, so America's gonna be destroyed in this third world war, and we're gonna be delivered, and then everybody that's riding with America, they're gonna be taken down too. They're gonna be destroyed, and what I'm saying. And like I said, then we got next. Like how they, how the saying go. We got next. And so hopefully, we part of that number, get delivered up out of here. And you know, I know these two chapters had a lot of hellfire and brimstone in it. A little spooky, a little scary, but understanding that God is doing this for our benefit, for the children of Israel, because we got a God that fight for us. He's gonna, destroy a third of this world for His children. For what they had done to us, and and put us back on top where we're supposed to be. That's the gospel. That's the real gospel. You know, and so yeah. With that being said, I don't want to hold y'all too long. So I'm gonna say shalom, peace, all that cool stuff. So next time we're gonna get into part 9, which will be 17 and 18, and you know, then we got like just a few more parts after that, because it's like 11 part series. So I'm gonna say shalom and peace.